Welcome to How to Retire on Time, a show that answers your questions about all things retirement, including income, taxes, Social Security, healthcare, and more. This show is an extension of the book, How to Retire on Time, which you can get a free digital copy today by going to www.howtoretireontime.com, or you can grab a physical copy on Amazon. Just search for How to Retire on Time. My name is Mike Decker. I'm the author of the book, How to Retire on Time, but I'm also a licensed financial advisor, insurance agent, and tax professional, which means when it comes to finance, we can pretty much talk about it all. Now, that said, please remember this is just a show. Everything you hear should be considered informational as in not financial advice. If you want personalized financial advice, you can request your wealth analysis from my team today by going to www.yourwealthanalysis.com. With me in the studio today is Mr. David Franson. David, thanks for being here.
Yes, always happy to be here. David's
going to read your questions, and I'm going to do my best to answer them. You can always text your questions in to 913-363-1234. Again, that number, 913-363-1234. Or you can email us at heymike@howtoretireontime.com. Let's begin.
Hey, Mike, how can I know if I am on track to retire on time?
Yeah, that's a very thoughtful question because it's going to depend on where you are and where you want to end up. There's different moments in life. And when I say moments in life, I think we misunderstand the very word of retirement. It doesn't mean the absence of work.
Okay, right.
So
good distinction.
We're going to use the common version of not working for a needed paycheck because you don't want to retire and do nothing. That's actually bad for your health.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Right. Couch potato.
There's only so much news and sports, TV and golf that can keep you, keep you going. So let's take it from more of a transition from accumulating wealth. And are you on track to eventually get to a point where you can then own your time? You can own how you spend your time. You can, something to that effect.
Yeah.
You redefine your life, your purpose, and what you're going to be doing. So I don't know, David, should we start from the beginning?
Let's start from the beginning. Typically people, if they
are born.
Yeah, they're born. So a lot of their needs are taken care of at that point.
Yeah. So let's go 16 to 18. Just try to figure out who you are.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Then at some point in your 20s, you don't need to go to college right away, but at college or technical school or coding camps, that's really where you don't need to be concerned, in my opinion, about saving. You need to be concerned about getting a skill that's going to increase your earning potential. People don't pay people because they like them.
Not very often.
Just because you're amicable doesn't mean you're going to make a lot of money. All money is gained through service. So you did a skill, you provided a service, based on that value, you're going to get it. And so if you can develop a skill that is either highly desired or is very replicatable, so like to the masses, then you can earn more money. But that's kind of how you start to shift into a career-focused mindset, a skill that you can be good at. And by the way, if there's any young people listening to this show, let's just address the passion bit. Don't follow your passion. Because you don't know what you're passionate about unless you become good at it. You're only passionate about things you're good at.
True.
So, I mean, I don't know many CPAs that were like, yeah, in fourth grade, I want to be a CPA when I grow up. Some do.
Sure.
And that's great. But I never thought I'd be in finance at all. But once I took a financial internship and realized, oh, I actually can get really good at this, then I became passionate about it. So don't follow your passions. Figure out who you are and what you could be good at from a behavioral standpoint, and then start to shape it from that stuff. Okay, rant over.
Okay.
In your 30s, in my opinion, now you're starting to get your finances in order, so student debt should be gone. I mean, really just pay down that debt and any other high yield debts. You want to get your finances in order. You probably have term life insurance at that point, but you're really not saving abundantly for most situations. Keep in mind, we're in the silent depression right now. Wages have not kept up with inflation. So it is harder to get ahead in life than ever. Maybe you got a tech job. Maybe there's a high income. Great. Most people aren't going to be above average. That's the point of it being an average. And so you want to just get your basics down by the time you hit 30s.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So don't take on too much debt. Maybe you got married. Maybe you're having a couple of kids. Term life insurance is really there in case you die, that the surviving spouse or your kids aren't in a very tight spot.
Yeah.
Okay. So once that happens, from 30 to 40, you should be transitioning to a greater ability to save money. That's you're maxing out your 401k, you're doing your Roth contributions, And I would say towards the end of your 30s, early 40s, you're now getting more abundant in your saving abilities. If you can prevent lifestyle creep from coming in, then you're doing great. Now, the reason why I give you this whole precursor is because a lot of people in their 30s and 40s are freaking out because they don't have much saved. I want to let you know it's normal.
Okay.
That's a normal situation. But once you start getting into your 40s, late 30s, early 40s, you need to be able to save a good amount of money, as in 15+% probably from every paycheck going to a 401k or whatever your situation is. By the time you're done with your 40s, you're going to want to have a couple $100,000 saved if possible.
Okay.
So by the time you're 50 years old, that's the ideal situation. Now, it depends on how much income you want in retirement. It depends on, what does your lifestyle look like? Some people can live off of $4,000 or $5,000 a month and be totally happy. Some people, they need 20,000. Chatted with people that need 40,000 a month, 50,000 a month. The record was $800,000 a month that I've ever chatted with.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It was hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, he was a very eccentric billionaire, but
okay, sure.
We didn't work with him. We were just having a conversation.
Okay.
So just full disclosure.
Yes.
But I've had some fun conversations.
Yeah.
But okay, back to this. So in the 40s, you should be having assets that you're accumulating. In your 50s, that's when your highest earning income years should be happening.
Right.
You've developed a skill and you're now a senior level in that position or career path. So that's where it needs to be not just saving, but where are you saving? If you just save in a pre-tax account, like a 401k, and you're not paying the taxes, that may be appropriate. It may not be appropriate because it depends on the income you're earning now and the income that you're looking for later on in retirement.
Yeah.
I've had people call me and say, well, hey, Mike, everyone says I should do IRA to Roth conversions or I should put money in my Roth. I'm making $300,000 and when I retire, I just want $120,000. In that situation, no, you want to use the pre-tax savings situation and then start doing tax minimization later. For someone that maybe is earning $120,000 a year salary, and that's kind of what they want in retirement, then maybe you are putting money into the after-tax part of the 401k. Maybe you're doing the Roth contributions. You're focused on that side of things.
Yeah.
Any questions? I went through a lot of that really quick.
Yeah. So I guess just to make sure we all understand the difference between like a pre-tax 401k and a Roth contribution, is that after-tax money?
Yeah. So regardless of where money goes, you're going to pay FICA tax. Okay. That's the Social Security tax, unemployment or whatever. And then you're either going to not pay income tax and put it into a pre-tax part of your 401k. So you'll pay taxes later, or you can pay taxes now and then it grows tax-free and then you can take it out tax-free.
Seems like an advantage.
Yeah. When I say grow tax-free, it means that if you're buying and selling stuff, you're not paying capital gains.
Okay.
So those are huge advantages, but you need to understand where you're putting the money into and why. Now, there's a third component to this that's important. Okay. Now, before I say it, because we're going to talk about insurance for a second.
Okay.
Insurance is not an investment. I cannot say that emphatically enough because it is often positioned as a strategic investment. It is not. Insurance is a way to transfer risk to an insurance company. In your late 30s or 40s, though, I do believe that people can start transitioning from term life insurance to where if you die, you get a lump sum and that's it, to a more permanent life insurance like indexed universal life insurance.
Okay.
Because you can put money into a policy and that if you were to die in your 40s or 50s, there's enough of a death benefit to cover your surviving spouse and get the kids through the different phases and just kind of bridge the gap to retirement.
Right.
That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you fund the policy right and you do all this correctly, the cash value can grow at a reasonable rate as well. So it's like a Roth alternative. Does it have as much growth potential as a Roth? No.
Okay.
Let's not think that this thing's better than it is. It's not. Could it be better than a bond fund alternative? Yeah, I think that's a more appropriate category. Not going to beat the stock market, probably, but would be competitive as a bond fund alternative that has a death benefit component to it. So the reason why I say that is if you were to pass in your 40s or 50s, that could be detrimental to the living heirs of the estate or the surviving spouse.
Yes.
If you were 60 years old and you decide to file for Social Security at 70 years old, there's a gap there. The death benefit can bridge the gap of lost income. So I do think having some death benefit that's permanent life insurance could be appropriate for when the unexpected could happen.
Yeah.
Because no one knows the future. Insurance, it is in the insurance company's favor. It's just you don't want to be the exception to the rule because that means it's an unfortunate situation for you and your family. And so this is where those landmarks, so again, 30 years old, just trying to get a skill set and start saving.
Right.
40 years old, the saving becomes more abundant and you're transferring from term life insurance to more of a permanent life insurance. I prefer typically in these situations, universal life or index universal life over whole life because you can be more efficient from the cash component standpoint. And then in the 50s, you're then getting more deliberate about where you're putting your money and you should be gaining the growth and really focusing on the savings at that point so that you can have a smooth transition if you want to retire at 60 years old, 65, or whatever that time is that you're like, hey, I'm done working this job. I want to do something else.
Yeah.
Think I missed anything?
I don't think so. This is like your recommended blueprint, shall we say.
Yeah.
And there could be some curveballs in everyone's life, right? Someone could have a major health thing. And
divorce, a sick child.
Yeah.
There are many times that a sick child can get rid of all of your retirement savings. Look, life happens.
Yeah.
Don't focus on the issues that have happened. I don't know. This is my opinion. I'd rather have a living child than being able to retire early. And I think most people listening would agree with that statement. Many people have come to us and said, hey, life has been rough. I'm 50 years old. I don't have anything saved for retirement. Don't get upset about that.
Okay.
Don't beat yourself up over it. Now it's just having a more deliberate conversation about your cash flow and what's going where and how you're investing. Make it tax efficient, and then you can glide into retirement. And maybe you're not retiring at 60 years old. Maybe you're retiring at 65 or 67 years old. But you want to accept where you are now. Maybe you're behind. Maybe you're ahead.
Yeah.
But just understand where you are and where you want to go, and then make decisions based on what you have control over. You're going to have hard conversations. Maybe at the beginning, you're having to give up a few lifestyle things that you've enjoyed.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, it's time and how you want to spend it. And part of that cash flow negotiation is putting money away so that you can buy your future. Because that's really what retirement savings is buying time in the future.
Yeah, that makes sense. So bottom line, just don't panic.
Don't panic. Don't beat yourself up. There are certain thresholds, but this is why people call. This is why people want to work with us. Whether it's an analysis, whether it's a plan, whether it's an ongoing relationship, it's up to you. But getting a financial coach is maybe an appropriate thing. I mean, we've had times where we have to go through their cash flow and we have them go on our app, Cash Flow on Capital, get on an iPhone, Android's coming soon, and they just have to monitor all their cash flow. And then we say, all right, where are you spending your money? Hey, maybe you should spend a little bit less in this category. Maybe we make these shifts and now you have a better chance of being able to save for retirement. The devil's in the details. That's all the time we've got for the show today. If you enjoyed the show, consider subscribing to it wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for How to Retire on Time. Discover if your portfolio is built to weather flat market cycles or if you're missing tax minimization opportunities that you may not even know exist. Explore strategies that may be able to help you lower your overall risk while potentially increasing your overall growth and lifestyle flexibility. This is not your ordinary financial analysis. Learn more about Your Wealth Analysis and what it could do for you regardless of your age, asset, or target retirement date. Go to www.yourwealthanalysis.com today to learn more and get started.